Get in on the action this season with Underdog's Pick'em game. Select higher or lower between 2 and 8 players and compete for up to 325 times your entry. Use code DIRECTOR when signing up to receive up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a free pick. Yo to Bolt fam, it's the Director. Chargers fans, I feel terrible after that game. The Chargers dropped versus the Chiefs this last weekend, but I think more so it's because I finally caught whatever it is my son had this last weekend. I think it's a stomach flu, but man, it's going to be a struggle today. I had to get on and do this, though, man. I've been on social media a lot since yesterday and seeing a lot of declarations being made about the Chargers and a lot of shade being thrown based on the results of the Week 4 game. Man, I'm going to tell you that it's going to be fine. Like, this team, walking into that situation, down your best 5 players, Justin Herbert on one leg, like, it was a far cry for any other result to come from that game. There is, however, a shining beam of bright light coming out of this game. I honestly do truly believe the Chargers found a way to at least attack the Chiefs again in December. I feel like we found a chink in the armor. I feel like the Chargers, when coming back at this matchup more healthy, are going to help themselves in a different result because of what we were able to almost accomplish while down like half the freaking squad. So we need to talk about this, man. As much as I'm not feeling up to it, as much as I just want to stay hydrated and go watch. I started Dragon Ball last night for the first time. As much as I want to do that, we have to talk about this game. I think it's important for us as a fan base to digest this game and really understand what's going on as the Chargers are entering the very vital Week 5 bye week. Before we do kick things off, man, shout out to the sponsor. We got to pay bills, and we got to pay for as much Pepto and as much NyQuil and all the fun stuff and the Sprites and the crackers. Use code DIRECTOR to receive up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Newcomers, take advantage of the Kirk Cousins pick this week. Before we do kick things off, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy this Chargers content. The small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, bell notification helps me out a lot. Let's get into it. Lights, camera, action.
Who's got it better than us?
Into the end zone, Charger fans are witnesses to history!
Your Chargers Week 4 post-game report. Man, I'm sorry, guys. I know I look like crap. I literally just rolled out of bed, and I was like, we got to do this. I looked at my wife square in the face, and I was like, I have to. She's like, don't. And I was like, I have to. It's important. She's like, you're going to die out there. And I was like, the people need me. We're going to talk about our matchup yesterday versus the Chiefs. Honestly, guys, to start off the video, I have to come for you guys. I'm going to pat you on the back a little bit, and I'm going to tell you guys it's okay. Like, it's not as bad as it looks like on the surface. I think a big part of yesterday's game that frustrates me is that I walked in with very little hope. I was expecting Taylor Heinicke to go out there at quarterback and for the Chargers to just try and survive this 1 week before the bye week so that they can get healthy and come back in Week 6 with a fury in their stomach. Speaking of it in their stomach. Okay, we got this. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not still pissed. I was really pissed after this game, dude. I'm not going to lie. The Chiefs and the narratives of the penalties and the refs and all the kind of stuff that surround this game, the rivalry, I think more so than anything. I wanted to win this game. As soon as the Chargers got off to a good start, right? They 2-possession lead. Where did that come from? Chargers defense dominating in the first half. Where did that come? Like, this is all shaping up to be that huge upset of the week, right? And at all of a sudden, my perspective in optimism shifted. And I'm not going to say optimism because I knew that even if the Chargers were to lose that game, especially with Justin Herbert in there, whatever, that it was more so to buy this team time to regroup and come back at it. And the way it unfolded showed me that the Chargers, despite a horrible, horrible situation, were able to take nothing and turn it into something pretty impressive. Something so impressive that I think, like I mentioned at the top of the show, it's kind of shown me a blueprint of how to take down Patrick Mahomes, and more so when you start taking a look at Mahomes' performances in the Chiefs games in the first 4 weeks now, it doesn't feel like, and this is coming from a Chargers fan, okay? We've had 10 years of being, thrown around in this division with the Chiefs. It doesn't feel like the same Chiefs I'm used to watching, going out there and offensively dominating week after week. The defense feels like it took a little bit of a step back, not via our game, of course, but, in previous matchups. I don't know, man. I feel like this game with the Chargers at well under, 100%. I would even say like 50% with all the injuries and all of the problems and the Justin Herbert and all that kind of stuff. The Chargers still only lost this game by one possession. Matter of fact, it's the first game in Justin Herbert's career that he's lost when the defense didn't allow more than 20 points or less than 20 points. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? And I think the Chargers, when they've had time to not just first and foremost lick their wounds and get their players back on the roster, but also take vital steps in understanding who they are and how they can shape themselves into the vision of what Jim Harbaugh wants. It's a long time between now and that Chiefs matchup, and I pretty firmly believe that the Chargers that you're watching, you watched yesterday versus the Chargers you're gonna see in December are gonna look way different. And it's just because the team has had time to settle in. That goes for Justin Herbert especially. I feel Justin Herbert's frustration. We'll talk more about that here in a minute. But it's a team that's really taking a learning curve, and despite that, almost took down the reigning Super Bowl champions. I get it. It sucks. I was pissed. I went on social media and talked a bunch of crap. I don't regret it. Because I do believe, man, mark my words, I believe we're going to take them down in Arrowhead. I have such a feeling about that. But I woke up today with a different perspective, and I feel pretty optimistic. A big thing I took away from the game yesterday, I think is especially exciting, was Jesse Minter, man. This man was cooking. Jesse Minter is the real deal, dude, in the NFL. Like, this dude, I say this all the time. I'm worried someone's going to try and snatch him and snag him and take him away to hire as their head coach next season, just because he has just done such a good job at turning this defense around. And he walked in there with the perfect plan to slow down Patrick Mahomes on Sunday, dude. Like, that was an impressive display. And yeah, it's something I kind of expected. If the Chargers are going to win this game, it's going to have to come off the back of a pretty tough defense. Definitely needed more from the offense. But the defense, nobody can say they didn't do a spectacular job. Holding Patrick Mahomes to under 20 points is extremely impressive. It's the lowest that he's scored this year, the Chiefs. The lowest that they've scored in their 4 weeks so far. The Chargers bought themselves opportunities on defense to get the ball back several times, man. Tuli Tuipulotu, my broadcast was bugging, so I missed it, and I was super bummed about it. But I went back and rewatched it, and the man, dude, forcing a fumble early. Chargers fans are going nuts. Shortly after, we get an interception by Christian Fulton. Got a little bit scary there, a little bit McCree scary, but we got the football, and we showed that this defense was absolutely tuned and ready to go versus Patrick Mahomes. And I think that, again, we've said this a couple of times this year already, but the formula that's been put together by Jesse Minter in terms of edge, pressure, and presence and consistency, it still existed in this game despite missing Joey Bosa and Derwin James. Huge bogus suspension, by the way, on that. I don't know if I talked enough about that. Derwin and Bosa not in this game, and the defense still, I'm going to say it, man, they bullied Patrick Mahomes for a good majority of it. Yeah, they faltered a little bit at the end. Some busted plays. Xavier Worthy, the fastest football player in the history of the NFL Combine, he got us, right? But outside of that, this team, man, they were cooking on defense. The formula is working. And if anything, the Chargers defense is absolutely what was drawn up in the offseason and then some and more. This defense is for real. Got to find out a way to help balance things out and complement it with a decent offense, a half-decent offense. But for right now, that is something that we can put in our tool belt, in our back pocket, and say, hey, we'll see you in December. And I know you ain't looking forward to this team, possibly with Bosa and Mac, Thule, Derwin. Imagine this team with Derwin yesterday, man. I don't think Travis Kelce picks up as much momentum as he did. It's impressive. The defense is for real. Very much so. Now, we're going to mix in a little bit of the good and bad. I'm not going to go straight good, straight bad. We're just going to kind of go melting pot today, man. I threw some photos together so we can comfortably get through this video and I can go watch my shows. The offensive line. Honestly, dude, the way that it was put together, it very much so a patch work, job, right? It was sort of slapped together last second, it sort of feels like the guy on the left side, number 62, Mustafar. I kept calling him Mustafar. I have the high ground. I've never heard of him, right? I had no idea who this guy was up until, this week, and I didn't think he was going to be the Chargers starting guard, and that was outside of already having a bunch of worry at tackle, especially, Trey Pipkins, he did okay. At left tackle, we had Jamari Sawyer, right? It was really, really a thrown together last second. Projects due tomorrow. Mom, drive it to school, please. Project of an offensive line. And I'm starting to understand with each and every week how this team was built and where the pillars of strength are coming from. Chargers teams of the past were very much so built squarely on the shoulders of their quarterbacks. Drew Brees and LT, right? That era, Phillip Rivers as well. But you can really say outside of maybe LT and Gates, or mainly LT, that the teams ran very much so through the quarterback position. Phillip Rivers, he was asked to do a whole lot for this team. Recently, Justin Herbert, in the recent iterations of the offense, was asked to do a whole lot for this team. And that's not the version of the Chargers we're looking at today. The version of the Chargers I'm watching today and the version of the Chargers that I saw play football yesterday do not stem exclusively from the quarterback anymore. I would argue that offensive line is almost more important than the quarterback in this offense, in this system. Isn't that crazy? Maybe I'm having a fever dream. Maybe I'm out of my mind. I'm not in my right mind, and I'm seeing ghosts, right? But I had this opinion last night too. I felt like this team put a lot of eggs in this basket of offensive line being one of the best in the league, to buy you more opportunities to do more things on offense than other teams could afford, because they just didn't have the same sort of firepower on their lines, right? The Chargers doubled down with Joe Alt, and he's amazing. Unfortunately, didn't suit up for this game. Jim Harbaugh adopted one of the best left tackles in football. Unfortunately, did not suit up this game. And the result of that, in my opinion, especially when looking at number 27 there on the right side, resulted in a Chargers scrambling for momentum on offense, in my opinion. Herbert kind of leaned back into what made him good, right, last season and previous seasons, by kind of going to the air game, looking for his new weapon in Ladd McConkey, which we'll talk about in a second. But for the most part, I firmly believe that the Chargers, they put a lot of stock in their offensive line being there for the season, because when you've got Slater and or Joe Alt, you can do a whole lot more with J.K. Dobbins. You can do a whole lot more with Justin Herbert. You can do a whole lot more with the time and space that those premium tackles afford you. Sure, the interior of the offensive line needs some work. Even outside of the injuries this week, I felt like we're probably going to revisit those positions in the offseason of 2025. But those two premium tackles, Don't get it twisted, man. Those, like Jim Harbaugh has stated very many times, that's the tip of the spear for this offense. Like, that legitimately opens up opportunities for this Chargers offense that, you know, in seasons past could not be afforded. And without them, I feel like we're a little bit exposed. And that's why, to me, even with Justin Herbert trying to go out there and play hero ball a little bit this week, which he got close, so we have to commend him with that, man. I still feel like the offensive line is really the position that the Chargers threw down a whole lot of stock in, and without their 2 premium guys, it kind of fell apart. And the backup plan wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be. It wasn't as terrible as I expected it either, but Mustapher and all these, like, I don't know, maybe the Chargers didn't plan for the top 2 tackles to be out so quickly this season. We have time, though. Let's go to something good. Ladd McConkey. Superstar in the making, man. He's the future. Ladd McConkey is the future of this team. I still think the Chargers need to find a complimentary receiver, which, hey, man, we might have one coming down the pipe here pretty soon. Chargers, we signed another wide receiver that hasn't seen the field yet for this team in DJ Chark. Chark should be back. Maybe hopefully soon after the bye week. Like, that could end up being a complimentary piece to Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnston that opens up their game a little bit. I really do think that could happen. You finally got an ex-receiver. You can let Ladd cook and get some one-on-ones with him and Quentin Johnston underneath, and you got yourself, you know, a nice trio there also. Because Josh Palmer, it was his first game back yesterday, and he was okay, but I was expecting a lot more from him this season, and maybe we'll have to wait and see. Maybe he needs more time. But Ladd McConkey, dude, several times this game, I feel like if the Chargers really leaned into this game, and they said, look at this Ladd guy, how inspirational. You know, look at this Ladd guy tear up the field, his little signature, turn up field and accelerate, after the catch move, getting those feet down in the back of the end zone, separation, route running, all the things that go with a good wide receiver in the NFL, that define a good wide receiver. Ladd was out there doing that stuff, man. And it was awesome. And there came a point on the live stream that I kept saying, hey, dude, we lean into this. We let Herbert and Ladd cook. I think we're going to march. I think we can overcome the offensive line problems, the lack of running attack problems. And unfortunately, it doesn't feel like it materialized. The play calling didn't quite favor that, in my opinion. But we have something very real here. And again, like I said at the top of the show, this team's going to look way different in December than it does now. As this Ladd McConkey, Justin Herbert connection continues to grow, I really think you're going to see among the top rookies in the NFL at wide receiver in a very impressive class, Ladd McConkey firmly listed in the top 5 of those wide receivers. Some of these guys will say top 5 is disrespectful. Not in this class. Malik Neighbors is going crazy. Marvin Harrison Jr. is having an awesome season. Brian Thomas, who we all expected to be really good, he's looking awesome as well, right? And then I think you can maybe fit in a Ladd McConkey, right? Be 4 or 5 right there. With more time to materialize, which again, they didn't have training camp together, the more I think this duo is going to start carving up the league. And McConkey firmly, especially if he's given a little bit of help outside, is going to be the future of this team at wide receiver. I believe that. Last couple of things I'm going to skip through. I'm sorry, guys. I gotta get out of here. Last couple of things I'm going to say. The penalties were as expected. I should have checked right before filming this. At one point in the video, at one point in the game yesterday, I checked, and the Chargers were very much so double the amount of penalties to the Kansas City Chiefs. If you guys didn't know this, there was some ref, Sean, I don't know. He's very much so known for not helping out the home team very much, to the tune 17%, I think, was the metric of home teams winning their matchups while he was the ref. And we saw a lot of displays of that. Again, some people really take this the wrong way, dude. Oh, you're making excuses and blah blah blah. Dude, it's a measurable metric that helps determine the outcome of a football game, get off your high horse and get over yourself. It's a part of something that needs to be measured and weighed at the end of games now. It kind of is, right? It's something that makes an impact. Herbert's frustrations are surfacing. Okay. This is why I feel like this is something the Chargers got to sort out right away. I don't know about you guys. Justin Herbert and his frustrations last season was a bit shocking for me. And if you guys haven't seen on social media yet, Herbert is getting really, really frustrated. And I think what he's doing, and this is coming from somebody who's had his own share of demons, and I got kids, just from looking into the human mind and soul, he's lashing out for help, man. Like it kind of reflects on where I feel like he believes his team is right now. He would never say it. He's a stand-up dude. He's a very polite president of the fishing club sort of human being. So he'll never say it, but I think that he's feeling maybe a little bit let down, and I get it. It's going to take time, like I said, for this team to gel and for the offense to figure things out. And Greg Roman, I think, is the biggest one on notice right now, the Chargers OC, on helping Justin Herbert kind of sort this situation out. But we have to continue to try and enable Justin Herbert's ability to lead. I think that's important. I think that he is more than capable of stepping into the role and stepping into the talent that he has displayed in years past, but we got to find a way to help nourish that, and we haven't quite done that yet. One more thing I do need to say, it's something minor in my opinion, because there are people that I feel like are stubborn, and then there's people I feel like learn and actually adapt and change. Jim Harbaugh had a bad day yesterday. And there's no looking at it from a different angle. Jim Harbaugh made some pretty big mistakes coaching-wise. I think the first one, maybe not the first, but one of them was going for it on fourth down. You had the 3 points in front of you. You had a defense that was dominating. And going for it on fourth down, not great in my opinion. I don't hate it. It's aggressive. You got to maybe score a touchdown and beat the Chiefs. But then the play call really, really stunk. The play action looked like, I don't remember. Again, fever dream director. Shotgun, if I recall. Like, it did not feel great to me. But they decided to do in order to make that attempt. We got pieces all over the team, all over the offense that are better suited for that situation than what was called. We got a bruising back in Gus Edwards, who was looking not bad this game, right? We got Justin Herbert, who was already snuck it once for a first down. Out of all things that could have been called there, that's the last I probably would have done. So that stunk. There was also a situation where the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh challenged a catch that to all of us looked like there was really no disputing it. Like it was as a catch as anything as we've ever seen. But the red flag came out. We didn't agree with it. It sucked, but whatever. It gets upheld, and we lose a timeout, which ultimately I think that timeout was pretty vital to the end of this game. And lastly, probably the biggest one of the game that bothered me was there was a catch by Josh Palmer, and he fell to the ground, but he wasn't really touched, and he sort of rolled into the first down, right? And at first glance, it sort of looked like, okay, he was touchdown, like a yard short, and this is right before the fourth down try. And Jim Harbaugh, while they're trying to figure out what they're going to do on fourth down, he decides to call a timeout, and that is where even me, like Joe Schmo on YouTube and my chat and everybody was saying, why, and the announcers too, I remember hearing them talk about it, why not throw another challenge flag here, right? He was pointing at the ground like, hey, he wasn't touched. That should be a first. You know what I mean? And you have to believe that he thought that would have been a first down. So why not throw the challenge flag? If you're going to be burning a timeout anyway, why not throw the challenge flag and at least give yourself a shot of a better spot? You know what I mean? I don't know. But to his credit, Jim Harbaugh did go out after the fact, and he took ownership of it. He did. And that's where things changed. That's why I'm not as worried in teams of the past, it didn't feel like Brandon Staley was the kind of dude to be like, my bad. He was more of like, hey, I said to do it this way, and the team didn't do it that way, and the plan, I have a plan. It just seemed very delusional. Here, it just felt like, yeah, someone messed up. It took ownership, and Jim Harbaugh is the kind of person, reflected through his actions, that will change and get better. And it's his first stint in the NFL in a very long time, so we got to give him a little bit of space here too. So finally, to wrap up this video, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be fine. I think everybody with the mentality of be mad today, bolt up tomorrow, got a lot of their frustrations out onto the internet yesterday. I was a part of that. But when you take a step back and you really look at the situation for the Chargers, I may even go to Twitter for this. We are going to be just fine. Take a look at this, man. And this is the footage of Justin Herbert. Me asking you guys where to start in Dragon Ball. Justin Herbert frustrated here. And I said, hey, Angry Herb about to go on a bloody rampage, a revenge after the bye. And it's because look at this, man. Like, we have a week 5 bye. Let's get healthy. Let's get our offensive line, one tackle at least, back on this team. Right? That would help tremendously. I think it feels like Joe Alt's closer at this point. But I think Slater has a good shot at coming back. He will have had 3 weeks of rest. We've got Derwin James returning from suspension. Joey Bosa has a really good shot at coming back too. This week 5 and of course Justin Herbert with the high ankle sprain. That amount of time should really help him out. Come back, maybe not be as mobile as we all expected, but you know that should help tremendously. That week 5 bye really will help set this team right. And it was, again, divine intervention that we got an early bye this season. We really needed it. Because not only are you giving your players time to heal and your team time to bounce back, but you're also giving the staff and the coaching very valuable time to sit back and evaluate. I think there's a lot of things that Greg Roman is doing that we need to move away from. And I don't think Jim Harbaugh is the type to just let it continue happening. I think he's going to adjust. And I think that if he needs to step in, he will. He's that kind of coach, in my opinion. They're going to identify things that, and mainly the offense, in my opinion, really need fine-tuning. And I feel like they're going to figure a lot of things out systematically, coaching-wise, health, between now and week 6. This week 5 bye is absolutely huge. And then when they return, look at this schedule, man. October 13th, Chargers Broncos. October 21st, Chargers Cardinals. You got the Saints. You got the Browns. You got the Titans. I don't know about you, man, but if this team can get right, if we can see a glimmer of what they were in the first 2 weeks, I mean, that to me, I smell win streak, dude. I really do. Again, I'm having fits. But I really do truly believe the Chargers are going to be a reinvented version of themselves when they make it out the other side of the bye week. And it's going to be impressive. It's going to be impressive, the kind of turnaround that we see. So, I hope this talk, thank you for listening to my TED Talk. I hope it helped. Be mad today, bolt up tomorrow. Very important bye week. We'll be okay. And I think we're still in good hands. A lot of people turning their back on Jim so quickly. Nah, man. Don't. It'll be fine. This week 6, we're going to prove a lot of people, hey, man, we figured it out. And it's going to be fun. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. If you like what you saw here, hit us up with a like and sub on your way out. We'll see you next time. And as always, bolt up and stay frosty. Nothing quirky today. I feel like crap.